YouTube. We are live with probably the last episode of Everything Pro Wrestling for 2016. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans and for the fans. Please make sure that you sign up with us on Facebook into our private group and join the discussion on there. With me today, I have Casey Briggs. Casey Briggs, has been quite some time since we've talked. What's going on, brother?
Not much. What's up? CJ?
We're hanging. Casey, I have no format for today's video. I'm shooting straight from the hip. And we're gonna just talk about the current.
Tits.
Huh?
That wasn't the hip. Those were your tits. Those were titty guns.
Oh, I'm sorry. It came up. You couldn't see the come up.
Oh, okay.
We'll allow it though. We're gonna go here and talk about some WWE, the good, the bad, and the ugly with the company at the moment. Try to be fair and run through some things while we talk. We could probably throw some TNA, Ring of Honor, whatever else you want to discuss in there. In our group, Robert Anderson and Josh have some interesting topics that came up. James put up some interesting things that I think we could discuss in here. But Casey, let's talk about 2016 as a whole first. What do you think about wrestling right now in 2016 overall with everything?
I want to say I actually think the product is moving in a good direction with just some remnants of the bad of bad stuff. And what I mean by that is, you got AJ Styles, you got Kevin Owens, you got Chris Jericho being the best he's been in years. You've got Finn Balor was, when he's healthy, like obviously they, he was the first Universal Champion. You got these guys, a good group of guys that are talented. For years, fans have been clamoring for WWE to value talent and skill and a certain aesthetic or a certain you know what I mean? Like I feel like WWE is moving more in that direction. But obviously there are still holdouts. There are still remnants. There's Cena still here and there. Roman Reigns is being shoved down our throats. And Roman Reigns could coexist with guys if they used him properly. They need to just start using guys like him properly, and it'll all come together. I don't think it's nearly as bad. It's not nearly as apocalyptic as some people think, but it could be better.
I think there's an internal struggle with how WWE's always done things versus the way they have to do things today. I feel that this is just society in general. I think television shows are on the decline. TV shows are not as good as they used to be. They are not as creative. That's why we're seeing so many spin-offs back to Ninja Turtles, Batman, things that were once creative and are now they're always cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but no one's coming up with something that I'm like, wow, that was original. Wow, I never would have thought of that. That's interesting. There's a few shows like that, but not many. And I think that's what's missing from television. I think WWE's falling in that same pattern of, well, this is how we've always done things. We've always decided that our guy is going to be this big, muscle-bound guy, which you can see with the push of Braun Strowman. That you can see that that's what they like, that's what they want, that's how they build themselves on. But Roman is the good-looking, big, muscly guy that, okay, we can market ourselves around him. Women love him. Kids will want to be him. Guys would want to be him. And it doesn't work that way anymore. And I think that us as a society, even us in our age group, Casey, I will have to say, are smarter than people are giving us credit for. And we don't like feeling stupid. I feel like there's always been like this wool pulled over our eyes watching things. They're like, oh, these guys don't know what's going on. But the older we've gotten and the more research we've done, the smarter and smarter we've become to where, okay, You're not gonna fool me with your marketing or your BS. Like when something says it's $1.99 when I walk into Walmart, in my mind that's $2 and whatever your state tax is. I'm not falling for your gimmicks of, well, this is what the shelf says, or when someone calls me for a marketing opportunity, I'm like, dude, you're trying to sell me something, so don't sugarcoat this. Let's be real. And I can tell they're reading from a script. Well, Mr. Cushman, today we have a great offer for you. This offer is for our new discount savings program. No, I don't want to hear any of that. Like, you can cut through the BS. And I think that's what WWE needs to try and do. They don't push guys in the format that they once did where they built them up. And I do miss that. There's things that I miss that they used to do, and there's things that they do now that I think are better overall. Mini rant.
I would, like I said, I think they're, like you said, they're not doing it the way they used to as far as how they build people up and push guys. They could still do something like that, but my point is they're starting to move in the direction of pushing the right guy. Like, I know people are still gonna complain, well, Roman's there and Braun Strowman, blah. Like, yes, but what people don't realize is that you always need characters like that. Even if you want a wrestling program centered on all the most talented dudes, like, you still need guys that are like the big muscle bound behemoths. Like, you do. You need that contrast.
I like variety in wrestling. There's nothing wrong with an Ultimate Warrior. I don't know why a lot of people crap on like the Ultimate Warrior. You need guys like him. Prime example. See what I'm saying? It works. Like Lucha Underground, that stuff works. You can have monsters. They all don't even have to be 6'8". Like, they could be a 6-foot person, and if you build them the right way, look at Taz. Taz is a perfect example of someone who I thought was a monster, but he was small. He was a little guy. He wasn't doing anything different than anybody else. But if you can build them correctly and make people believe, that's the best part in wrestling. When people are calling out stuff being fake, they don't like this, that's when you're having issues and there's a disconnect. You want people to believe in this and go as far as to say, wow, I can't believe that really happened. I can't wait to tune in next. Oh, wait. And then they forgot that it was even fake. They're like, oh, I can't wait till next week's show. That's the best kind of television you can produce. But Casey, you know what? I figure we could talk about some of these awards that Robert Anderson, the group, posted these. So I think I want to get your thoughts on some of these real quick while we're talking. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. And we can just talk about them real quick. He put Prime for Prosperity in 2017. Is there someone that you see right now that is destined for greatness, no matter what, in any organization, company that you're like, you know what, this guy is going to become something next year? Mark my words.
I think he already is in NXT, but I really think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to hit the main roster this next year, and he's just going to be bigger than he already is down in NXT. This guy is going to be on the biggest stage of them all, doing what he does, and the guy is just, I mean, he's gonna take over. He's absolutely going to take over.
Yeah, I had two different guys for this. I put down Braun Strowman, and then I had Kenny Omega on the side. Braun Strowman's had a tremendous year. I think he's getting better and better each time I see him in bigger matches. But at the same token, when you look at Kenny Omega, he has prospered from AJ Styles leaving the Bullet Club and making his moves. And I think Kenny Omega's done a good job with the Young Bucks, keeping the Bullet Club name and the Elite relevant throughout Japan, Ring of Honor. And I think he's someone he's someone people should watch out for, because I think he could wind up at NXT or make a lot of money in Japan. So keep an eye out for him. The next category he had was Return of the Year. That was tough for me. I went back and forth, but I think that there was no bigger return than Shane McMahon, only because he did it first. That I thought was a very shocking return.
I have to agree. That's a return that people have been whispering about and talking about for years and years, ever since Shane left. They were like, man, like, I mean, I know you and I, have talked about it over the years. I was like, I longed for Shane O'Mac to return, and it was such a well done surprise. Like, say what you want about the storyline that followed, but that first night of him coming back was just, I mean, no one knew about it. No one knew it was about to happen. Because that's the thing with the internet nowadays. Like, a lot of surprises get ruined. And sees Joe Schmo showing up at the arena and tweets about it, and it just goes off like wildfire. Like, oh my God, so and so is here in the arena. Oh, you might, like, I feel like the Shane McMahon return was kept under wraps really well, and it worked. It was awesome.
Yeah. The only other person I think that could rival that was Bill Goldberg, but I had to put Goldberg at 2 just because I think Shane took a lot of the luster off of it because Shane just took a lot of the energy from it already. But excellent to have Shane back, and I'm glad he's on the SmackDown brand.
And like I said, the Goldberg return was advertised. It was telegraphed. Like, we knew it was happening. So it's like, I like the surprise element of the Shane McMahon return. Like, don't get me wrong, Goldberg's return was cool. It was an awesome moment that first night he returned on Raw, but like, I knew about it. That's why I was paying attention that night. Like, I knew it was coming. Whereas the Shane McMahon return, I didn't know. I was just watching an episode of Raw, and all of a sudden, his music hits, and I was like, "What?"
Right,
So,
and then it just goes to show there's 2 ways to do things. There's multiple ways, and sometimes it's better to have the surprise than to advertise it.
Yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, I get why they advertised Goldberg. They want, they were struggling for ratings, blah blah blah. They wanted all eyes on this episode, on this return. So that's why they advertised Goldberg. I get that. Trust me, I get it. I see both sides.
Gotta bring back the WCW that have stopped watching. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just for me, Shane McMahon's surprise return was the best. It just turned in years, not just this year, in years.
All right, Casey Briggs. Here's another one for you. Best pay-per-view / live special that was on the network, or pay-per-view. It doesn't have to be from WWE. Some people were trying to put UFC things in there, but is there a best show that you have seen this year?
Well, we're a wrestling show, so I'm gonna try and stick to wrestling.
My man.
Man, that's tough. Well,
I'll give mine while you think for a second. I picked Wrestle Kingdom 10 was the best show of the year. Now, I had to really go back and think. There were so many good shows. And this goes back into what we were talking about earlier with wrestling. The wrestling product today, you do not have a better quality of matches than this is the best quality of wrestling I've ever seen, I think, to where I'm like, wow, that was a really good match. I can't even decipher anymore sometimes what's a really good match. Like, I feel bad crapping on some of the other matches I feel like I am when I'm choosing for, like, what's the best match this year. Like, there are several in there that I'm like, man, I really want to pick this one and this one. But with me, you can only pick one, so make your mind up. But some of those matches deserve honorable mentions, and there's so many of them. But I thought that Wrestle Kingdom 10 was the best. You had AJ Styles versus Nakamura. You had Okada versus Tanahashi. They held it down, I think. But what do you think, Casey? You got anything in your mind yet?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue against that one. as you're listing off the matches, it's hard to argue against that.
I mean, that doesn't even get into Kenny Omega, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match that opened up the show. Just great stuff. And I think we're going to start the year off the exact same way again with Wrestle Kingdom 11.
I'll concur with you on that one because it was a great card. It absolutely, top to bottom, was amazing. However, I do want to give honorable mention to a couple of the NXT shows throughout the year. I loved. It was Dallas. Was it Dallas where Shinsuke debuted?
Yes.
That was him versus
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn was just an amazing match. Even though I know I put Shinsuke Samoa Joe rematch over it, but still, it was a good show. It definitely better than WrestleMania. It was that weekend.
It just shows the sad state that WWE gets into sometimes where NXT shows are better, but it's still their product though. So I give them credit for it.
And that's what I'm just saying. NXT, I'll give it to Wrestle Kingdom this year as the best show. I just want to give honorable mention to NXT as they consistently put on solid pay-per-views. Their takeover specials are really well done. Even if going into one, I'm not as excited about it. You know, they tend to end up winning me over and being like, wow, that was actually pretty well done. Like most of their matches are good.
You know what else?
Yeah,
I feel like that with what was I gonna say? I feel like that with like the NXT Toronto show. It doesn't look like much. Like if you told me 6 months prior to that we're gonna have Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger, and I'm like, what is this? An episode of NXT? You're gonna have the Revival versus who? Why are we doing that? But now, months later, after they took all that talent, it started to make sense, and then these guys started to blossom. And if they needed to, they would bring someone in like Mickie James to face Asuka and stuff. That's the NXT gets it so far. I have to give them credit. We got best finish for a match. I actually put this one down I put Okada finally defeats Tanahashi. A lot of people don't know the storyline, but at Wrestle Kingdom 9, Tanahashi defeats Okada, and Okada actually goes up the ramp crying that he couldn't defeat him, which was all part of the storyline, and that Okada holds it up and he says, "You're not ready yet," and points at the championship. Okada finally beats him at Wrestle Kingdom 10 to get his big moment, and I don't think there was any better finish than that one, personally. What do you got, Casey? Can you hear me, Casey?
Yeah.
What do you got for best finish?
Best finish
to a match.
I'm going to go with the one I just mentioned, Shinsuke versus Samoa Joe, their second match where Joe won the title back. Unexpected. Most people didn't think it was going to happen. It was a very well done match. Both guys were going at it, and just all of a sudden, Joe just finishes it and wins the belt back. And everyone, you could see, like even in the arena, like everyone was stunned, and it just that leave fans, and they were stunned in a good way, because there's obviously matches that leave fans stunned in a bad way. Like, what did I just watch? But
Undertaker Lesnar.
Hey, that was, to me, that was good.
I liked it too. Some people didn't like it though. And they say that's a bad shot.
No, I know. But yeah, like Joe versus Shinsuke, the rematch where Joe won the belt back. It was a good, stunning finish. Like fans were just like, what? Like it was amazing.
You know what works for NXT as well, while you bring that up, is the fact that there's always a finish. They could probably get away with doing one DQ one here and there if they really wanted to. And they usually don't, though. They follow the Ring of Honor method of these people came to see someone win, someone lose. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. No wishy-washy garbage.
Yep, I agree. I was trying to think of something in Lucha Underground, but
they do it here and there, but not as often. They're starting this season. I feel like they've been getting into it a little bit more with doing some of the garbage finishes, but their season's also much longer, so I get it. Next up, Casey, I'm coming to you first. Promotion of the year.
Lucha. All the way. Lucha all the way. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, But I gotta go with them. I love how different it feels compared to any other wrestling going on. Realize it's story driven. Um, it's pre-filmed, so they have the story that they want to tell that season, and they tell it. I feel like sometimes WWE's problem is that they're too reactionary. They're trying to like please fans there and plug holes and like, oh, that didn't work out, so we're doing this and that. Whereas Lucha Underground, they have the story they want to tell over their however many, and that's the story they tell. And have their awesome yearly episodes like Aztec Warfare. I think the athleticism you see in Lucha Underground, top to bottom, is amazing. Even their big muscular guys like Cage are doing flips over the top rope, jumping off the turnbuckles, like doing crazy stuff. The stuff that you see in Lucha is exciting. It's awesome. And say what you want about it. I know that the finish wasn't well done, but having a woman win their main title, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I get that the finish during that Aztec Warfare wasn't the best finish, but it was still a nice moment. It was still like, wow, this happened. Very cool. And it's not like it lasted that long. And you see guys that didn't get their proper due in other organizations getting their proper due here. You see, John Morrison there going to Lucha in he's their champ, like making something of him. Someone who, guys who are just like by WWE and whatnot are able to go there and showcase their abilities. And Lucha Underground, far and away, the best promotion of the year.
Lucha was my number 2, and I love Lucha. I had to give it to New Japan because of the matches that I have seen, the quality. I think New Japan is getting real close to that WWE. You better watch your back level because these guys are going to come and take your guys too. Then if you're not going to use them properly, yeah, come over to Japan. We'll show you how it's done. We'll use you properly. They're coming and they're picking up guys from Ring of Honor, TNA. They don't care where you come from. They will pick you up and bring you to their promotion and make you a star because a lot of the fans of Japan like American wrestlers too. Don't think it's just that we like their wrestlers. It goes both ways. And I think that we're on the way to seeing a kind of global war for talent. And I just hope that Lucha, Ring of Honor, and TNA are ready for it because all these small little indie feds are going to get ate up. And that's another topic for another day. Maybe we could have about the WWE Network and the whole UK expansion with the cruiserweights and everything else. I see something forming that's not good. Well, not good for wrestling as a whole because I see territory starting to form, but it's more WWE territories that they're going to develop their own. Next one, Casey, we got holy shit moment of the year. I have Goldberg defeats Brock Lesnar in quick fashion at Survivor Series is my choice. That left me shocked, truthfully. I was more shocked. I thought it would have been Samoa Joe versus Nakamura, which was 2 for me. But this definitely caught me by surprise with how it was done, how it was handled. I never thought that they would book it that way.
Oh yeah, I have to agree. And for me, it might fall into that, like I was just talking about, the bad stunning. Maybe it wasn't like the best. Holy shit! At the end of it, some people loved it. Some people absolutely loved it and whatnot. And other people, like myself, were like, "Holy shit! What the hell was that?"
Well, that's because we start putting the brains around it, and we say, "How can you book Goldberg so right, but you couldn't book someone who's currently on the roster right?" And this goes back to CM Punk and how he was treated with everything else. I feel like the current guys. What about that?
To me, it goes back to that other holy shit moment that we were just talking about that you and I like. where Lesnar broke the streak, Undertaker's streak, and then so that meant something at the time. That meant something. That elevated Lesnar to a certain level, and I feel like ever since then he's lost since then, since breaking the streak, but it hasn't been like a dominant loss. It's been like in triple threat matches. It's been in like there's this little out for them to get where he doesn't look weak, but he loses and he keeps going on being this dominant force. And I feel like they should have the guy that beat him in dominant fashion, it should have been reserved for elevating someone new, taking a new character to another level. And by allowing a guy who hadn't wrestled in 16 years, I believe, come in and do that and be the guy to dominate Brock Lesnar like that, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. So it was definitely like, no matter how you feel about it, it was definitely a holy shit moment. Like, whether you loved it or you were scratching your head at it, it was definitely there's no doubt about it. It was definitely the holy shit moment of 2016.
I want to get your surprise moment here first, or a surprise moment of the year. Did anything catch you off guard that you probably were like, oh, I didn't see this announcement happening or this actually going down?
Well, we already mentioned Shane returning. That caught me off guard. The other thing that caught me off guard was the brand split coming back. Not gonna lie, even though it was like months, like it took months to happen, and so it was a long process of. Oh my God! They're really doing it. Oh my God! But it didn't work the first time. It did not work the first time. And I know there's going to be people out there, people in our group that are like, but it's the only reason that we're getting, guys like AJ Styles and guys like Kevin Owens and whatnot in the main event because we have them split. Whatever. That's not why. Like you can have guys like that in the main event with good writing and stuff. The brand split doesn't work. It waters down your titles. And so the fact that like it didn't work the first time. They literally just a couple of years ago unified the belt, and now we're back to having two titles. It just I don't know. It definitely caught me off guard that they decided like, oh, you know what idea we should bring back? The brand split. That'll be awesome. Like I would have loved to have been in that creative meeting.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. I still stand here and I will still tell you that the brand split is bad. As you can tell by these pay-per-views we're getting every 2 weeks, that is not a good thing for most. My surprise moment when I had to sit down and really think about it was Daniel Bryan announcing his retirement. There was no way that you could say you saw that coming with Daniel Bryan. I was very sad to see him actually retire. I was a big supporter of his for his time, probably from that WrestleMania 30 when he won the belt, and then they took it right off of him immediately after beating Cena and gave it to Orton. And it looked like a very cool storyline that happened to work. But all that doesn't happen if CM Punk doesn't quit. He finally gets his chance. He fights Kane. And then all of a sudden, after that point, he was constantly hurt. Whether they gave him the Intercontinental title real quick, he fought Roman Reigns. I just wish Daniel Bryan was still around. And this stuff with The Miz better be leading to a match, or they found a way to get him clear, because that's got to lead to something. But it was just sad to see Daniel Bryan retire in his hometown.
Yeah, I hear you. But back on TV being a douchebag to The Miz every week, so you did watch that.
Yeah. The next one is Match of the Year. which was pretty. Like I said, this was one that you had to think about for a long time. Do you have yours off the top of your head, Casey?
Like I said, I think I wrote in the group the Samoa Joe Shinsuke rematch where Joe won the belt back. I thought it was a great match, top to bottom, surprising finish. Prolonged their storyline. Yeah, I've already talked about it, but yeah, I mean that's the one I wrote in the group.
I really wanted to put down for mine Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. It was my number 2 because of how good that match was. The presentation, people going nuts for both guys, the false finishes, but we all knew where that was going. So that was the thing that lowered it. Like you knew Nakamura had to win, and Sami, this was his swan song because he was already booked in the WrestleMania ladder match. What the match I think that took over that one, and you could have put Nakamura, AJ Styles. That was my 3rd from Wrestle Kingdom 10. But then when I really thought about it, the best match was a tag team match in NXT Toronto. The Revival versus DIY is exactly what tag team wrestling has been missing for a long time. They used a 2 out of 3 falls match properly. When you see 2 out of 3 falls matches today, I'm like, all right, in the first 60 seconds, who's getting pinned? And then who's going to get a quick pin afterwards, and it's like a regular match. I hate that. This was used properly. I saw guys doing the heart attack, trying to figure out ways to cheat to get the first fall even, and they couldn't get it. And long story short, we get the finishing sequence, which was all those false finishes. You're like, oh, come on, you got to let these guys win in DIY. They've been trying so hard. They even go back to the finish from before, beating on Gargano's leg, and you're like, listen, if they lose, Tommaso Ciampa is definitely kicking the crap out of Johnny Gargano, no matter what. And then they lock them both in their submission finishers, simultaneously, like at the exact same time. And the Revival are so great as heels that I wish Jim Cornette could manage them. That's how good I think they are. They hold each other's hands, which looks super awkward already. And they're like, I'm not going to tap, brother, if you don't tap. And then they're both screaming. Then they look at each other with wide eyes, and they both tap at the exact same time. I was like, dude, that's perfect. Heels cowering out at the same time even. They're ready for the main roster, and I look forward to seeing what they do with them. But that was what I thought was match of the year.
Yeah, it was a good one.
What else do we have here? Promo of the year. Is there best mic work that you liked?
Oh, do I get to bring in Talking Smack, The Miz on Talking Smack?
I had the same answer. See, I knew we were going to agree on that one. I have The Miz on Talking Smack, the original thing that got you like, oh, I should probably watch that crap instead of skipping it after SmackDown.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, I've never not liked The Miz. I've always respected the guy for being a great heel. In a wrestling world where you have so many tweeners, guys that really don't know how to be true heels. Here's a guy who, day in, day out gets the right reaction for being a heel. He's a true heel. He's a solid worker in the ring. He's not the best. He's not the flashiest. Right. And yeah, I've always respected the guy, and finally, but I know a lot of people stopped caring about him for a while, and then boom, that happened, and people were like, oh, maybe I should be paying attention to Miz again. What's going on? Spitting fire at Daniel Bryan.
That's the power of a promo, though. Like, that's exactly what it was designed to do. Miz, then everyone started talking about him. That's where my issue is, where, okay, you all love The Miz now. There was a lot of hate for Miz for a long time, but now everybody loves The Miz. And I like that he's not flashy. I think that makes him unique now versus all these guys who do kicks, flips, and way too many super kicks. Miz definitely knows his role. He knows how to play it, and he knows that he's such a hateable person. The smile, the perfect hair. He's got Maurice. I'm like, how did that happen? But Miz plays it to a T and does an excellent job every single time he goes out there. So I have no issues with The Miz. Most improved
And,
wrestler.
anything you want, like I said earlier, like say what you want, like in the writing, like Miz is 100% correct in everything he says. Like the way they're writing the story there, like you said it. Man, I hope Daniel Bryan can return for one, even if it's just a one-off, just one match with The Miz. But he's being a douchebag in the story to The Miz. Miz is 100% right. I love it. Miz all the way.
Watch this be a swerve and they'll just beat Daniel Bryan again. Like, thought you were gonna get that, huh? Ha. Yeah, real funny, Vince. Most improved. Now, last year I gave this award to Baron Corbin because I thought Baron Corbin was the man, and you see where he was on the last episode of SmackDown in the main event. I am calling it right now the most improved wrestler of the year, Alexa Bliss. Hands down, I think that she has progressed the most out of anyone I've seen in the past year that wasn't already in an upper level. But I think she has grown from someone who seemed sometimes uncomfortable in the ring. And when she got drafted, I was a little worried, like, hopefully she gets past all the fears. And then I see the issues with Dana Brooke and people. But then I look at Alexa Bliss and I'm like, no, she's ready. She can take the belt. She can run with the title and be fine. And she's doing a tremendous job, I think. I think she's the most improved. What do you got, Casey?
I like Alexa Bliss. I'm trying to think of other people most improved. Braun Strowman's getting up there. Like you said, every time he's in the ring, he's getting better and better. He's not there yet. Um, yeah. Yeah.
Bray Wyatt even came to mind for how much better he's being booked, but that was because they split the brands and they finally realized we have to make Bray important a little bit here. We have to do something with this guy. I think they're starting to realize that they were squandering it. I pray that they don't mess this up, but I look forward to seeing what they're gonna do.
Should I like give an unconventional answer for most improved?
Go ahead.
Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And
see, he's someone I would avoid saying that though, because I'm like, I don't want to disrespect Jericho in the fact of being most.
I get that, and that's why it's an unconventional answer because no, he's not as great as he used to be, but this year he is the best in a long time on the mic, in the ring, like everything. He is the best he's been in years, and do with his character and the way he evolves his character and everything. It's just like I most improved this year over the last couple years.
I like it. No, I can agree with that for sure. Stable of the year. I put Bullet Club. There's no other way to go, I think, than that. The Bullet Club's everywhere. They're doing everything. They're in every promotion but WWE. And they've just got a new member in Cody Rhodes, which I look forward to seeing how he does in 2017 with them.
Yeah, it's go against the Bullet Club. I mean, the WWE doesn't have a lot of stables. Yeah, Bullet Club all the way.
We have Champion of the Year. Who was your favorite champion?
Favorite champion of the year goes to
the outlandish Rich Swann. Can you?
No, it goes to in Lucha Underground.
Who?
Most deserved because other guys can mention in this category have had opportunities elsewhere, opportunities to hold championship belts and whatnot. Johnny Mundo is a super talented guy who wasn't getting anywhere in WWE, so he left. And he found his way to Lucha Underground recently, achieved that status of being a world champion in his promotion. and he deserves it. He's solid on the mic. He's great in the ring. We just talked about The Miz playing the heel. Johnny Mundo is amazing at being a bad guy.
Former tag team partners there too. One of my favorite teams that time.
And if you, I know we just said Bullet Club. Like, I'm not gonna say that, but Mundo's stable is pretty awesome there in Lucha for what they do. Just their constant heel tactics and everything. They're great at what they do and stuff. And Mundo deserves it, and that's why, to me, best. What was it? World champ or just champ?
Just champion.
Yeah, I'll go with Johnny Mundo as the Lucha Underground champion.
I put some serious thought into it, and before I get back, let me get back to that Rich Swann thing real quick. I know I was kidding around. I love Rich Swann personally. I know a lot of people don't care for the Cruiserweight division. I even like TJP. But my problem with Rich Swann is, why is he the outlandish Rich Swann? Does nobody have a dictionary in WWE before they give these guys these like cool names? There's nothing outlandish about the guy. What's weird? He dances when he comes to the ring. He's a good wrestler. What's weird about him? Yeah, no. But that's another subject for another time for creative. I picked, kind of like you, this is going to be unconventional. I picked Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe, I felt, delivered some of the best promos with and without the title while chasing the belt this year. Samoa Joe embodied what a champion should be. He had the look, the feel of a champion, and basically demanded things from William Regal. And Regal couldn't do anything about it because he knew Joe was right. Where's my title? The title has not almost been defended in a month. Where is my championship, Regal? Bring me Nakamura or bring me my championship. And Samoa Joe just did a great job, even throwing like the contract at Regal, like, yeah, you pick it up. Like, that's what a heel would do. He's a jerk. He's not supposed to be liked. And I think Samoa Joe did the best job with that this year. We're almost done here. We got 3 more. Tag team of the year.
But real quick there with Samoa Joe and William Regal, similar to The Miz and Daniel Bryan, like, Joe was right in a lot of stuff that he said to Regal during that whole run there, like, which
the heels are always right.
I always like. I always appreciate that. Like, Regal like made Joe jump through hoops to get title shots, and then he just hands them to other guys. Like, I don't know. So yeah, I always appreciate like when the bad guy is actually the right one. Like, he's actually got a legit
one, in my opinion. Since I was a little kid, I've always noticed that. Even with Jesse Ventura yelling at Gorilla Monsoon, how is it bad for Hulk Hogan? How's it okay for Hulk Hogan to rake eyes, but you just yelled at Rick Rude 2 matches ago for doing the exact same thing? Well, just turnabout's fair play. And I'm like, come on, that's garbage.
Yep.
And that probably is why Jesse Ventura has all those conspiracy shows and stuff now. I should have seen this coming as a kid. 3 more categories. I'm sorry. Tag team of the year. I thought long and hard about this one, and I think it was simple for who it goes to. Who do you got?
Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton.
You serious? You going with that?
I'm just kidding.
You know what? I did like their team.
Tag team of the year. Oh, dude. American Alpha. American Alpha's on, but it's hard to do against New Day. That like New Day all year long.
And you know who I went with? I actually said the Revival, only because the progression of where the Revival has been. New Day, I feel like Kofi, Big E, and Xavier were all in this kind of realm of like, oh, we don't know what to do with them. Make him a tag team again. Kofi's won the belt like 12 times, guys. That doesn't matter. Just let him win it again. And he's got like the record for the longest tag title reign anyway, like holding the belt himself. Just him alone holding him. And now he's got the other record for it, which is cool. But I think you go with the Revival. The Revival used to be nothing on NXT. They used to be job guys that you'd be like, oh, these guys are losing. Here we go. When they were the Mechanics. The Revival have come so far and produced such a great quality of matches that I think that I have to go with them. They've never underdelivered. They've done it with American Alpha. They did it with DIY. They've done it with every other tag team they've had to face in the Dusty Classic when they were actually wrestling in it. That's another issue for another time. But I think they've delivered constantly. They put on good matches. It was between them and New Day. It pained me to think about it. And I saw some people even put the Young Bucks.
I actually wanted to honorable mention to Heath Slater and Rhino. Like,
it worked. That was another.
It worked.
I hate throwing together tag teams sometimes, but sometimes they just work. Rhino and Slater worked, and I think Orton and Bray Wyatt, which is there's no way they should keep that a team. That's an unstoppable force that I think it would be hard to book them to lose if it was those two losing. Like, how would this even happen? But definitely good choices for that. Feud of the year. Who do you have going down as the best fight? You have so many to choose from too this year that were good.
I'm gonna go with shoot, this is tough.
There were a lot
I'm torn between two feuds, and I'll tell you which ones they are. One is a carryover from last year, Sami Zayn, which culminated this year.
That was my choice, actually.
In one of the best matches of the year. And the other one is the one you just mentioned, Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
That was another good feud. You have Charlotte versus Sasha.
Charlotte versus Sasha, like it was great.
It's a good feud. But, I mean, they've been fighting since they came in, since 2015 too.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sami versus Kevin Owens, just because of the fact of how it ended. Like the culmination of that match that ended their feud. It's one of the best matches of the year. It was just phenomenal. Whereas the matches that ended the Shinsuke Samoa Joe feud and the match that ended Charlotte Sasha were kind of fell flat. So the fact that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who have so much history together and stuff, were able to just still at that level end till the end of their feud, like, to me, is amazing.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. That's the exact same reason why I chose it, because of the history that they've had in other promotions, and it kind of came into play. It was mentioned. And then we'll get into the last award. I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's Wrestler of the Year. This will be our last conversation about it. But it's time for me to break out my plate, Casey. We had a conversation probably a few EPW episodes back about who we thought the top people were. And don't think that I'm not mentioning Jay Lethal and people like this. They were all great this year. And I mentioned a few other guys, but this guy was at like my number 2 spot, I believe, when we were talking about it. You were criticizing me, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can have you say that. So I've got my fork here for some humble pie, and my wrestler of the year is AJ Styles. This guy's freaking amazing. Who would have thought that AJ Styles will wrestle on Wrestle Kingdom in the beginning of January, to an awesome match with Nakamura, get kicked out of the Bullet Club, come to WWE as number, 3 in the Royal Rumble, shocked everybody, and then he goes to Mania, loses to Jericho. Then he wins the number 1 contendership match, gives Roman Reigns 2 awesome matches. And then right after you think AJ's not going to become a face, he turns heel and beats up John Cena. Not once, not twice, but 3 times AJ Styles defeated John Cena. You can't write a better thing for him than that. And then he beats Dean Ambrose to become the WWE champion. The matches have just been great. There's nothing more you can say. And he's even put over James Ellsworth while doing all of this. Like, yeah, I made that kid great. And thank you, WWE, for having James Ellsworth lose that match in like 3 punches. But
yeah, it's AJ Styles. It's AJ Styles. Dude, There's no argument. Anyone that says anything else, flat out wrong. Like, there's no argument here. It's AJ Styles. He's superstar of the year. He's
the modern
amazing.
day Shawn Michaels. I don't think he can have a bad match. You can tell this dude, you can try to force him to have one. It's not happening. He's gonna save you. There were spots where they got screwed up and AJ saved the spots. AJ even took some disgusting bumps for people who messed up throwing him. Just amazing.
AJ saved James Ellsworth's life.
Yes, he did. He did, and he also probably saved his career because putting him over was the best thing that happened for Ellsworth. That's basically it, Casey. I don't know if you have any final thoughts or anything. I see guys are talking about what they believe will happen in 2017, which is interesting. I know we didn't mention TNA. TNA is a sore subject for me. I honestly very harshly dislike that company, but
we don't need to talk about TNA. They suck.
Yeah, God forbid. And what'd you say?
The Ghost Smashing Pumpkins.
Exactly. So we'll be back in 2017, hopefully with some predictions. And I want everyone to start thinking about the 2017 Royal Rumble. Who do you think is going to win it? I think that'll be an interesting topic for our next video. I'm going to try and keep these a little bit more random and spruce them up a little bit and just stick to one topic and then try and end the video on that. But Casey, I got to thank you for coming on last minute to do the show with me. Always a blast talking wrestling with you. Always have a good time.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Thanks for having me. I'm always willing to jump on and talk wrestling with you.
My man. Folks, like I said, make sure that you are subscribed to the show. Click the link below to subscribe. Leave a like. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We're everywhere. Just type in Everything Pro Wrestling. We are making moves on all of our social media accounts. And thank you guys for watching. And let's have a good 2017. And hopefully wrestling gets better. We are out.